Go. Well, hello and welcome. This is Dr. John Mason, and I am the founder and main facilitator of a group community called Masters of the Journey. And today we have with us Paula Forget and Nancy Dubois. And we're here, both Paula and I are here to sort of interview or at least witness Nancy's story. And she has had a very interesting experience throughout many years of spirit being present in her life and speaking to her through her. And she has a message today that she really wants to give us. So Nancy, can you please just give us a little bit of background on that?
Yes, thank you, John, and thank you, Paula, for both being here and sharing this adventure, this experience. I appreciate you both very much. Um, my history has been, I've become aware consciously in my awakening and ascension, and I have been reluctant to put that out there. I've been reluctant to share it with my own family for fear of causing an upset, having a dispute. And I just kind of kept it quiet, and I wasn't being true to who I really was. And it became an issue in my journey. And so I've had a couple of major experiences to push me out of that place. But nevertheless, there were threads of that left that had to be overcome. So I was in the middle of listening to a master's journey on video, and there was a conversation going on, and I kept hearing, toward the end of this, I kept hearing a scripture. If you had faith as a grain of mustard seed, you'd say to this mountain, be removed, and it would obey you. And so my entrance into my conscious awareness came through the scriptures in the spiritual sense, not in the dead letter. It was in spiritual understanding. So I was being encouraged by my spirit guides to go ahead and speak at this particular meeting, and I was, do I have to? Should I? What if? I was kind of building a mountain with my excuses. And so all of a sudden, I realized I can do this. And my spirits were being very gentle with me, encouraging me. And I spoke out. And I spoke about that this mountain is something that we create. We add to it all of our impossibilities. We add to it all of our preconceived ideas, our judgments, everything that you can imagine, we very easily put out there within and without about other people, who they are, why they don't follow our plan, why they don't think the way we do. They're a bunch of so-and-sos, and we keep building this mountain. And we don't realize that when we're standing in a circle holding hands, we're holding hands with all the people all around the mountain, so that the people on the other side are actually holding our hands with us. And yet on their side of the mountain, they're adding all their I can'ts. I shouldn't. I'm not good enough. I mean, the detailed list goes on and on and on. And for time's sake, we're just going to skip that because we all do it. So I was seeing that by the power invested in us, which is a phrase from a wedding ceremony, by the power invested in you, I now pronounce you husband and wife. I now unite you as one. And so by the power invested in us at this time, we have the power within us to say to this mountain, all it takes is a grain of faith the size of a mustard seed. We have the power within us to say to that mountain, which we created, be removed, and it will obey us. All of the beings, the benevolent beings on heaven and earth, on each side of the veil, they're all prepared for this moment in the history of mankind, that we move from the mountain and we become one within ourselves, we become one with each other, and we become one with our source, our source. Now, if you have a hard time with this, remember how easy it was to put all those judgments in that mountain. It was so easy. You didn't have a battle about it, you just did it. So when it's time to remove that, don't have a battle about it, because when you say, I can't do that, it's impossible, you're reconstructing the very mountain you're trying to get rid of, because you're putting in all those things. And this is the time where the message is being activated. And the message is, you have that power. We're here to help you. You can remove the mountain, and then you can see clearly. And the very people that you judged and talked about, and, well, you didn't like the clothes they wear, the mountain is gone. And you can see each other clearly. And you know that you're holding their hands and they're holding yours. I am you and you are me. There's no difference between us. We all have come from the same seed, and we're all going to the same place. Yes, John, you have a question. I can't hear you, I'm sorry.
If I unmute myself, it works better. I, I just love what you're saying, and it's the impression that we are all one and connected, and yet we've created separation.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you. And that's very important that we all see that. Now, this message came to me through this scripture. If you had faith as a grain of mustard seed. Well, let's examine that grain of mustard seed. It's so tiny that you almost need a microscope to see it, but it exists. And when the right intention comes, it's just like a seed in the ground. That seed lies dormant until the right intention comes for it to sprout. I mean, it takes a certain amount of water, a certain amount of energy, and then it sprouts and becomes a plant. And that plant, it says that a grain of mustard seed, one plant can take over a whole field. So if we have that little grain of mustard seed, that little bit of faith, that's all it takes. And now I want to talk about intention and passion. Now, I can hear some of you thinking, yeah, but I'll have passion, and I'll have passion for today. And then the next time I have some energy or a little space of time, I'll have passion. But I'm going to compare this to a football game. And here are all the guys. They are talking about this Seahawks football game. They're so excited because this is the one. If they win this, they go to the playoffs. They're passionate about it. They're making plans. They're going to have a community. They're all going to get together. They're all going to talk about this game, and they're watching the game, and it's the last 4 seconds of the game. They intercept the pass. They land in their zone, and they win the game by 2 points. And the passion and you're cheering and screaming and flailing your arms, and you're so excited. You're so passionate about a baseball game. But let me ask you, are you passionate about you? Are you passionate about removing a mountain? Are you that passionate about yourself? Because you are so exquisite. You are so perfect, but you can't see it because you built a mountain inside of you. And when I'm talking about intent and passion, that's what I'm talking about for you. When you see a beautiful sunset and it moves you, do you stand in front of the mirror and look at yourself? And are you moved with the beauty of who you are? You can't see it. Get rid of the mountain. It's easy. Don't make it hard. You have guides and angels and heavenly beings, all of them ready to help you activate this. But it's your intention, it's your free will, and it's your passion. And that's how you do it. And it's easy and it's so much fun. You feel light. You become light. You are the message. You don't have to do anything to promote a message because you become what the message said. You become one. And that is the message in itself. That is the real message. That is how we communicate with one another. That is how we be with one another. And that's how we be with Source. So sit down and use your imagination and go as far as you can. Go beyond what you would imagine to see your divinity, to see your perfectness, to see the kind of life that you deserve. It says in those scriptures that they might have life and have it more abundantly. That's what this is all about. So go for it. And that's the message that I received. And I thank you all very much for listening.
Nancy, thank you. You know, you bring up so many great points. And one of the things that I just wanted to build on with that is that we we're playing it small. It's very safe to be in the three dimensions and to have our egos tell us that we're not perfect and we're not good and we have all these flaws and we've made mistakes and nobody should look up to us and we can't even look up to ourselves. And so what I'm hearing you say, just to try to clarify it for myself, is that deep within inside of us there's a perfection even within our flaws, weaknesses, imperfections,
Yeah.
and each one of those is part of our lesson and serves a purpose for
Right.
all of the beings, all of the divine spirit in the universe and then beyond.
Yes. Yes. Very good, John. Yes, Paula. Thank you, John.
I just loved what you said, Nancy, and you expressed it so well, and just and so clearly and concisely, and I really appreciate the way that you appreciate everybody, that you see. Like I see that in you all the time, when I'm around you, to appreciate the beauty that's inside of each individual person, and although each person is unique in their own way, they all have that incredible beauty that comes from Source, that comes from that pure essence, and that essence that unites us all together, because that's the oneness, of us, and to remind us like that, and to tell us how exciting it is,
It
and to
is.
get excited about it. You do that
It's
so
the
well.
touchdown. It's the final touchdown. This is what we were created. This is why we're here now, to become one. What an amazing thing to become one with divineness, with joy, to be one with joy, unconditional joy, unconditional love, unconditional happiness, unconditional abundance. Uh, we have to get rid of the mountain. We put all the conditions on the mountain, and we stand there and we can't see each other. So it's so easy. It's so easy to fall in love. It is. It is. Um, I'm having fun. I'm having fun and joy in my life, and I this experience, what happened in this experience, this day when this beautiful message came, I I was losing that desire that didn't want to talk anymore, and my internal vortex started to spin, and it very hard, very fast, and I was very dizzy, and I couldn't stand up, and I tried to go out of the room and use the bathroom, and I couldn't. I was holding on, white knuckling. And fortunately, my beloved roommates here, one of them is in the house where I live, one of them is a retired emergency room nurse. Now, don't tell me that universe doesn't have our backs. So she took my blood pressure and she listened to my heart, and she said, I think you should go to the hospital. Are you willing to do that? And I said, well, yeah, sure. I can't do anything right now. I couldn't even sit up, and I couldn't open my eyes. So I was in this huge vortex spin. And I said to the two roommates, I said, my vortex is spinning. I know I've had this happen to me before, but never like this. And so the joke was, after I was in the emergency room, I hope she doesn't tell them that her vortex is spinning. They might put her in another wing of the hospital. And I thought, great, I'd have someone to talk to. And so I went through this whole thing. They took all the blood work. They gave me an MRI and all the things that they do. Tested me for if I was having a episode with blood sugar. Everything was perfect. My blood pressure was perfect. My everything was perfect. And so the conclusion they gave me was for vertigo. They gave me some medicine for that, calmed down my stomach, didn't stop the spinning. And they said, we can't keep you here because you don't have something we can treat. So they sent me home. So I had a nurse on staff here at home taking care of me. And I was in the hospital. I was so peaceful and joyful and expectant because I knew there was a big message in this. And that's what I was having that experience for. Now, time has passed. I've gotten very, very good. I've actually got back into driving a car. I'm having a little bit of walking on uneven terrain like grass and hills and things like that. But I'm going up and down stairs. I'm just about at the end of this. My body is healing and I'm being restored back into balance. But I am flying with joy and expectation for my beloved brothers and sisters on this planet, for their ascension and their awakening. Yes, John.
The key word here is that three-letter profanity called joy. I mean, finding joy in every challenge that we have in our life is probably the key. It's not always easy to do. It's much easier said.
Well, let me insert something here. It isn't a challenge. That's what we perceive it as. That's that perception that we build a mountain with. Those are all perceived ideas. So when you change, as our beloved Dr. Wayne Dyer said, if you change the way you see things, the things you see will change. So challenges are no longer existent.
Thank you. And
you're very welcome.
And where I was going with my comment was, we bump into people who seem to be polarized on the opposite side of things, and they push our buttons and they upset us. And sometimes we get angry or sad or fearful. We can get upset. And I think that what is a nice perspective to have is that if they push your buttons, then you're supposed to be learning. I mean, that's that you can find joy in the difficulty of what's been going on for you. And if you can find the purpose and the joy when you struggle with a person or with an issue, I think you're that much closer to where you're asking us to be, where the mountain comes down and we can feel, even with the differences between us, we don't have to have that mountain between us.
Yes. Yes. Very well said. Yeah. Thank you, Paula and John, both for participating in this. Thank you, Spirit, for bringing this beautiful message out. I love you all.
Thank you, Nancy, for sharing this gift and this story. And thank you for connecting and being the source from Spirit of this wisdom that we can all benefit from. Again, my name is Dr. John Mason. This is Masters of the Journey, and for other interviews on our channel, and hopefully we'll have Nancy and Paula back to give us even more insight and the sharing of their wisdoms in the future. Remember, you're a blessing. Nancy and I both, and I think Paula will join in, saying you are perfect. You are a miracle. And thank you for being you.